Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
This fat son of a bitch. He's fat.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
He's fat.
Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
He's fat.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
I'm gonna have to rely on the news here because my brain's a little dead.
What's wrong with your brain?
I did a 2-hour podcast yesterday. That juiced me pretty hard.
Oh man, it is so funny how much of a you don't even, because I do the same thing. It is so funny how much of a bum you become whenever you like, yeah, man, I did a 2-hour thing yesterday.
I also did a 15-minute set on top of a 2-hour. So I had a phone call earlier today.
Yeah, you had to answer the phone.
I'm wiped, man. I took I shaved in the shower. That's a new thing for me.
Your face?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No mirror?
No mirror, dude. I just fucking did
Really?
it. Yeah.
That's wild.
Aced
Yeah,
it.
see, I like that. I like to brush my teeth in the shower a lot of times. I like to do a lot of shit in the shower. I like to do everything in the shower except crank it. I don't understand these shower crankers. I want to crank it in the, do something. I'll just crank it right here in my studio sometime.
Right now. Fuck it.
Yeah. Follow the second cam of this show if you want to see where the real fucking show is.
Bruce cranks it on this show, and the Mariners hire him as CEO of the fucking. Hey, you got what it takes to work. You work upstairs at a baseball team.
Yeah, hey, Kevin Mather, man. Yeah, so enlighten me, because somehow this is a new development, is that all of this just happened, but it's also a new development for you to be giving me any kind of baseball news.
Well, our friend Jeff Passan, the hitman, he strikes
Jeff
again.
Jeff Passan is on fire right now, dude.
Dude, he is. He's really taking a stand. His closet better be clean because he's taking down high power motherfuckers.
Yeah, he put down the Mets GM. He put down the Mariners president. I mean, here, lead on this story because
Kevin Mather was on a a Zoom interview with the Rotary Club of Bellevue, Washington. Which do you know what a Rotary Club is? I have no idea.
Okay, so I don't understand quite what a Rotary Club is, but I know that they do a lot of things with local sports. I know in my high school days that there was like Rotary Club, local athlete of the year. It's my friend is a high school track coach. I should, if he wasn't working, I would get him on the horn to explain to us what a damn Rotary Club is. But
I have no idea. It reminds me of like all my years driving around this country where you'd go into every shit town and they would have the signs of all the clubs that are there. Like the Lions.
VFW. Okay, so here, what is exactly this rodeo club? A rodeo club. A rodeo club. I know exactly what that fucking shit is. We provide service to others, promote integrity and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through a fellowship of business. It's bullshit. It's where dudes probably just hang out and drink, and they tell their wife
it sounds like a bunch of business owners get together and fucking jerk each other off and do backdoor deals.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think a less pretentious country club probably with no golf course.
Yeah.
To guess, which I do.
I do go to the Elks or the Moose Lounge with my father, and that's pretty cheap beer.
I like a Moose. Yeah, a Moose Lounge and Elk Lounge. They're all kind of in the same vein. I think Rotary Club is probably the most pretentious, right? And then you got your Moose, your Elk, your.
Yeah, I don't know. We always had punk shows at the American Legion.
Yeah, American Legion will rent out their shit to anybody.
Yeah, that was always a big debate where it's like, or we would really upset people because we would constantly ask them to take down the American flag for our show.
Would they do it?
Yeah, because like you'd have to tell the guy, you'd be like, look, first of all, this just isn't that kind of show. But also some of these bands may be tempted to do something. They have very strong beliefs. They may exercise their First Amendment on that flag, which is a debate and an internal conflict within you that you have to figure out where you stand on that. Do you want to prevent a First Amendment demonstration or?
Yeah, it's going to basically turn into that scene at Dodger Stadium where the evil hippies tried to light the flag on fire and dude swiped up the flag.
Yep. And then I would be on the news. I'd be the devil's advocate guy where they'd be interviewing me, but like, look, I put my life on the line for the First Amendment. So no matter how I feel about what they did, I support it.
Yeah. They're like, oh, were you deployed? And you're like, I swept.
Was I deployed? Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't live in Maryland when I was stationed there. I had to get on an airplane and I had to go to Maryland. I had to go to Oklahoma. Okay. I had to go to
You did-
Augusta, Georgia. Now, did I drive home 2 hours every night to get a home cooked meal from mama? Yes. But I was living in Augusta.
You were deployed to Augusta, Georgia. 2 tours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Let's get going on this. What did this guy say? Kevin Mather.
So Kevin Mather did a 45-minute Zoom conversation with the Rotary Club of Bellevue, Washington. And within that 45 minutes, he managed to completely destroy his life in like thoroughly. He insulted every player. It wasn't just racist. But it was racist. It wasn't just like Kyle Seager, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
Of course.
One of the best players in baseball. If you go by wins above replacement, he's up there. Jeff Passan showed that like in the last like 10 years, Kyle Seager has had a higher WAR than like a ton of great players who are making honestly more money than Seager. He said,
yeah,
Seager
and he's kind of overshadowed by his brother because his brother is just so good.
Yeah.
His brother is one of the top. I don't remember. I mean, MLB just put out the top rankings of the players, but I mean, he, is way.
So he said Seager was overpaid and probably they won't pick up his option next year. He just said that on a recorded with no conversation with Seager. This is how, so Seager's wife tweeted out, so do we put our house for sale or what?
Yeah.
He said that their best pitcher, whose name escapes me right now, because I thought that, I haven't been up to date on baseball. I thought their best pitcher was Felix Hernandez, but it's a different guy. He said that he was boring and didn't throw hard. He said that they had a Japanese player forever, Hiwa Kuma. Do you know that?
Yeah, he's like a fan favorite kind of guy.
Yeah, I might be getting his
One
name
of the guy
wrong.
where he doesn't blow up the stat line, but he's a guy that the fans love.
Right. He said that he said, I'll tell you what, I got tired of paying his translator. He was really hung up on these players not speaking English, which was really strange. Because like, who gives a fuck? But yeah, so he, and then he said another player they have. God, I wish I wasn't doing this all from memory because I'm really bad with roster names. But they had another they have a Dominican player who is, I guess, a fan favorite right now. And he said he's loud, he's cool, his English is not good. And, that guy, he had a funny tweet, that player, I forget his name. But he tweeted his face over Michael Jordan from the doc, The Last Dance, where it said, and I took that personally.
Yeah.
There was just like that kind of stuff, just constantly all the way down. And this is a guy who apparently 10 years ago, before he was promoted to CEO, according to Jeff Passan's article, had 2 sexual harassment. Like he was rubbing people's lower backs.
I read that he's settled on that and like
$500,000.
kind of quietly settled. It's just crazy, dude. Cause it's like these dudes, I mean, what is this guy's salary? Kevin Mather. These guys
Are their salaries
live-
public? Oftentimes those aren't.
It's just, dude, these guys can live in such anonymity and then they somehow fuck it up to where do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. They just are not, they don't have their finger on the pulse. And I'll tell you why, because their friends are other CEOs. And now if you're a CEO of a company where your employees are not empowered, here's the thing. I think that there's going to be a huge expose coming in on baseball with Jared Porter, with who's that coach that we were talking about? Mickey Callaway, and with this new one with the sexual harassment attached to the racism. The New York Times is just primed to do like a front page expose on the culture of baseball and how it's antiquated, and they're going to be right. But the reason why these guys think they can say this stuff is because they're fucking CEOs and their other friends are CEOs. Now imagine if you're the CEO of something like Purdue Chicken, you could say whatever the fuck you want all the time because your employees have zero power. So these are guys who have like, if you think that like the CEO of a baseball team talking about people not speaking English is like, a bad example of a CEO, imagine what CEOs are saying. Like the Whole Foods guy, he says shit constantly. Our food wasn't meant to be ate by poor people. He says shit like that all the time, which honestly, he's got a point there. He's right. Like,
yeah. And it's like, but also, especially sports where you're like kind of doing these kind of interviews where it is going to be put out in the press. A lot of these other people aren't really doing these. like you're a CEO of a company, but you're not as much in the public eye. Not saying that Kevin Mather isn't in the public eye, but it's not like you said, Purdue Chicken doesn't have a huge fan base.
Yeah, the Rotary Club isn't gonna. I mean, maybe the Rotary Club is, but like they're not gonna have a podcast dying to talk to whoever the fuck the CEO of some consultation firm that defends like dictators. You know what I mean? There's like a lot more evil shit going on out there. It's never gonna make the news.
And it's like, of course, these things are said behind the scenes, and it's like if you're kind of just two dudes talking, say whatever. It's not like what you're saying is right and that what you're saying is cool and appropriate, but it's like if you're on a recorded line, maybe he didn't know it was a recorded line. I don't know what he thought was going on.
It was he knew he was being recorded. It was for YouTube. It was going on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. He's another one of these guys also.
What's his defense? Is he going to do the Roseanne defense that he was on Adderall?
No, she was on Ativan, I believe.
Ativan, I'm sorry, Ambien.
Ambien.
Yeah,
well, I'm on Ativan.
He's gonna come out on ESPN in 2 days, and be like, "I thought the bitch was white." Yeah, I really just don't understand why you. Not obviously, I don't understand why you do these things, but why you think that you're gonna get away with these things?
I know. I mean, it would be like if one of us got SNL, and then they like looked into us, we wouldn't be like, oh, I didn't see this coming. I'm so shocked. I'm so sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why you would ever put yourself in front of the public eye. It's insane. If you have that, my whole life is built around like, I would love to have 3 good years and then you will never fucking hear from me again. You will never see me. If I just had 3 good years and then I put all that into fucking Bitcoin and then I just cash in, you know what I mean? I'm taking loans out against my own assets, making good percentages, and you will never I'm chopping firewood until my wrists fall off.
Literally, yeah. I was just about to say, I'm going to about 25 miles outside of Bozeman, Montana, and you'll never hear from me again.
Yeah, for sure. Just give me 3 good years and then, say whatever you want. I don't understand the urge of these people who don't have to be in the public eye. Unfortunately, I have no skills. That guy has a PhD in accounting or whatever he went, which by the way, I looked him up on Wikipedia. He went to college and one of his majors was risk and insurance. And it's like, okay, well, apparently you didn't learn about what's risky.
Yeah. Does that mean that basically he kind of puts value on human life where he's like, okay, so if 10 people die here, it's better for us than if we pay.
Right.
To
like
save
if we pay the
whatever.
fine on these 10 deaths that versus paying them a living wage, then, it's easier to just let them die. That kind of thing. So yeah, I don't understand what's going on. Baseball's about to get burned down, and at least the NFL, I think they got to workshop this in 2015 when Kaepernick first started. Or was that 16? I forget. It was 15 or 16.
I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head.
Things were a little bit different then. So Jerry Jones got to say all his dumb shit back then and get the blowback, but not the blowback like it would be now. So they've all learned, hey, if you shut the fuck up. If you're going to have a scandal, make sure you're just getting tugged off by a fucking masseuse. That's the only kind
it's like, it's so funny how this shit happens. I feel like, especially in sports, when someone opens their mouth, they're immediately blown back by, like Jerry Jones opens his mouth on that, then he's blown back with those weird pictures of him and those chicks. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Or the Rockets GM coming out, anti-Chinese and, not Chinese people. I mean, honestly, like the guy was a big Trumper, but I kind of agree that it was a little weird that the NBA was so in bed with China with kids, whatever. We don't need to go down that road. That's a different podcast, different story. But I am saying, why would you as a GM of a NBA basketball team be like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump? Just do it and shut up. Like,
yeah, there's people, it's kind of there's a lot of different people that feel the need to put this out there to be like, yeah, this is what I am. And then they can't handle the blowback.
Yeah, it's just like, just be silent and be rich. That's the way power works. You remember fucking Go-Go Gadget, Inspector Gadget? Remember the bad guy? You never saw his face. You just saw his hand petting a cat. That's what you need to be. If you're an elite person, never show your face. Just be like all the new porn where it's just always, you don't see a face.
Yeah, I hate. Yeah, you don't see the dude. Those dudes got it made, man.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't see the dude. He's just kind of doing his thing. Most of the time, he's kind of fat and he's, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you know, that's another podcast. That's my porn cast that I'm doing, dude.
But
I mean,
yeah,
let's go on. Well, you got anything else?
no, I just think that I think it's really funny. Like, could you imagine like Jeff Passan like in a breakup?
Oh, dude, he just lays it all out. He
Yeah,
just is
bullet points you to death. just really, really just
yeah, he's just like,
summarizes.
well, in 2016, you sent me this text message that really ticked me off a little
And
bit.
if you see this response, I feel emotionally neglected here, and emotional neglect is a form of abuse. And now I'm at abuse. I think that requires, you know, in California, we're a 50-50 state. Plus with the neglect, I think that's a 60-40. So I'll go ahead and take 60% of your assets. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Jeff Passan's a killer, man. I mean, he does great reporting on his Adam Schefter type things, but then he also busts these big stories down. He's really crushing it. And I think he's only about 17 years old. I don't know how old he is, but he looks like a young man. Let's just stick with baseball,
He's the
dude.
Ronan Farrow of baseball.
Yeah. Fernando Tatis, dude, that big contract, me and you, that kind of rocked both of our worlds a little bit, because I think we both kind of figured that these big contracts, especially after the Trevor Bauer short, like powerful contract, that these big contracts were kind of going to go by the wayside. So this one's pretty shocking. 14 years, $340 million. What do you think? I think it's fifth biggest contract ever.
I think it's a dumb, like the way we always talk about these long contracts. Like as far as for the Padres, it's like, why would you do this? Like you're giving the guy no incentive to get greater, you know, unless he's a self-motivated individual, like a Mike Trout style. I mean, I don't know. You saw what happened to A-Rod. He just got fatter and worse and worse.
Yeah, because it's kind of rough, because there's a little bit of, you can look at both of these things, or all of these things, kind of both ways. Like whenever Mookie Betts got that big contract from the Dodgers, I was like, of course, he's already proven himself. These guys who have gotten these big contracts, everybody except for Tatis in this like top 5 contracts, have already won like a World Series, have already won a couple MVPs, have already won a Cy Young. They've already really proven themselves as like a legit like player. And I'm not saying that Tatis doesn't seem like a legit player, but he's only played 143 Major League Baseball games.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, in that sense, I agree with baseball. Also needed to come around and stop paying people for what they did and start paying them for what they're going to do. Because baseball for years was just giving people who are way past their prime way too much money.
I mean, that Justin Turner contract we talked about last week, where it's kind of like, this is a thank you gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like there's no reason. I mean, it makes sense to double down on a younger guy who you gamble on somebody who you think could be your future, as opposed to somebody who was your past. That does make sense. And I mean, I've been watching those videos you sent me of Tatis hitting bottle caps, and dude, his father still got, you sent me a video, him and his father hitting bottle caps. His father's got the best swing. Who did he play for?
Cardinals.
Yeah.
For a long time. I think he played second base.
Beautiful swing.
Fernando Tatis is great. Beautiful swing. Dude, you know who else had a great swing I was watching was, Darryl Strawberry. Just a fucking God. I've been watching. It's because last week you asked me who I think had the best current swing, and I kind of rushed to say Christian Yelich, but I might even double down on that and say Robbie Cano, even though he's a roid head.
Is he still in the league?
Robinson Cano?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember we talked to last week for a while how he just got busted for PEDs. And
that's what I mean, though. He's suspended for a year, so he might be out. Who's going to take him after that? He's old.
In baseball, you'll always there. I mean, even like, for example, somebody like Howie Kendrick, who was pretty much way past his prime, or Rajay Davis. Rajay Davis, pretty much at the very end of his rope, hit a big home run in the postseason for the Indians. Got 2.
I remember that.
Out of it.
He was in his 40s.
Me and you, I think we might have been watching that game together, and he hit that home run. And same thing with Howie Kendrick. I said that home run just extended his career by about 2 years, I bet.
Yeah,
and
dude.
He played another 2 or 3 after that.
Who was that dude who was he a Brave? Was he the Brave who played was Rajay on the Braves? Who's that guy who was on the Braves at the end of his career and he was like 45?
Julio Franco.
I love Julio Franco.
I did too. I think he played till he was 48.
Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty positive, because that was, Julio Franco went to forever, dude. I'm like the Schwab in this bitch, dude. I know every fucking dude. Okay, so this Fernando Tatis contract is, at first I was like, this is so stupid. He's played 143 games, and he's not explosive, and you don't see all of the what's the word? potential in him as like one of the best players, but it's just a big gamble. It's a big gamble when you see it on the surface. And then you look at it and realize that $340 million over 14 years is an AAV of 24 million. So
not
that's
crazy.
No,
crazy
not for, you have to look at this a few years down the line where you're like, if Fernando Tatis is the best player in the MLB in a couple years, you aren't giving him that. You're saving probably about $11 million a year.
Yeah, I think that's what they did with the Mahomes contract, where it was like, look, we're going to give you a long, huge contract, but and it's actually going to help us keep our team together right now by stretching out how much money we give you. And I think like Mahomes starts making way more money per year in like his 30s. Yeah, I think he has.
It's the Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla thing. Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid by the Mets, hasn't played a game in who knows how long, because he signed, 10 plus years, 15 plus years, because he's getting paid till 2032 million bucks a year because he signed that contract, backloaded it with 8% interest, and it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling.
Dude, I'm only going to call him Bobby Bonilla from now on.
Yeah, Bobby Bonilla, I don't know. But okay, so this is kind of what was interesting to me is like, it's crazy for somebody to play 143 games over 2 seasons and get that kind of contract. He hasn't played a full season technically.
It's not as bad as Matt Flynn, dog.
No, not at all. That was crazy. But it's like the most comparable person I could find to this of somebody, Fernando Tatis, 143 games. Over that has hit 301. Not bad at all. It's good. It's not unbelievable. 39 home runs, 98 RBIs, a WAR of 7.0, just right on the dot.
Mm-hmm.
In his first 113 games, in his first season, played 113 games, Ryan Braun hit 324, 34 home runs, 97 RBIs, and had a 6.6 WAR over the first 2 seasons, because that's how WAR breaks down, is kind of per season. So it's very comparable, those 2 players. And so it's like, if after Ryan Braun's first season, the Brewers would have given him 340, it would have been different due to inflation. If they would have given him 340 million for 14 years, everybody would have been like, what the fuck are you doing?
100%. Although, analytics aside, there is an eyeball test with Tatis where it's like, he does look a little different from Ryan Braun.
Oh no, he's an explosive player. He's an unbelievable defender. He's just crazy. It's crazy. The Brewers signed Ryan Braun to like a 10-year, something like $18 million contract at that time, which is and that's the extreme version of this Tatis contract where we're like, we're saving fucking crazy money because we're giving this dude nothing. Or like, dude, Ichiro Suzuki came out and I'm pretty sure won MVP his rookie season.
Yeah, he was like 27 though.
Yeah, he was 27 and he had already proven himself. Between his 2, he played like 30 professional seasons. He has like 5,000 hits between the 2.
Yeah.
But just kind of to the side, you know what's a crazy stat I read is that in Ichiro's, I think, 3rd career game, his career average dipped below 300 for 2 games, brought it back up over the next 2 games, and his career average never went down below 300 again.
Jesus Christ.
Just unreal. The question I think to ask really on this Tatis thing, dude, is what does this mean for people like, it's almost, okay, so imagine where you have a job where you have a coworker and you're like, damn, they do crush it, but I crush it pretty much the same. And then you find out like how much your coworker is making above you. And immediately you're going to be like, well, how come I'm not making that?
Are you talking about Manny Machado?
I'm not talking just about Manny Machado. Manny Machado has a great contract. I'm not even talking about anybody on the Padres. I'm mainly talking about people around the league, like your Cody Bellingers, your Corey Seagers, your Juan Sotos, people who have contract years coming up pretty soon. And it's kind of like, well, what does this mean for them? Are they going to be asking for a type of money based on what they're seeing other people get? Or are they going to stay within their lane and be like, let's talk about longevity with the Dodgers or hopefully they stay with the Dodgers or with whatever team that we end up going to.
100%, as they should. Every player is going to go for as long of a contract and as much money as possible. That's what all the Padres did, was they just set negotiations back for the other 31 teams back 10 years.
It's
they really did.
Great. It's Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I like to think that this is going to be the last one of these contracts we see for a while, and that people are going to be signing these Trevor Bauer type deals. Well, it's like, dude, the more I look at this Trevor Bauer deal, the more I fucking realize what a sick deal it is for everyone involved. Really, like,
Yeah. Who runs the Dodgers? Who's their GM?
I can't think of off the top of who the GM is, but it's Friedman. He's like president of baseball operations. He handles all that shit.
Yeah. So he's
Friedman and Magic Johnson.
Is Magic Johnson in the executive office for the Dodgers?
He's one of the owners.
Jesus, he's got his hand in everything LA.
Absolutely, dude, it fucking rocks. And it's like this, people are kind of, there's a question I had read about it online where it's like, dudes are asking, no, people are like, where are the Padres getting all this money? And it's like, if you think about it, the Padres, Harold Reynolds was saying this, that the Padres are like the biggest show in town in San Diego right now. The Chargers,
with the Chargers gone.
Chargers are gone.
The
There's
Clippers
no
left
team.
in 79.
Yeah, there's no one else. So the Padres are like, well, let's fucking go all out. And
there's not even a college there that's that big. I mean, San Diego State. I mean, like, yeah, there's literally nothing there.
Yeah. It's I mean, dude, the attitude that I hope more people are having is like Steve Cohen had tweeted, not tweeted, in an interview, basically just said, I'm not trying to make money here. I have my day job for that. And it's about building something for the fans and winning.
Mm-hmm. You love Steve Cohen, dude.
Dude, you know where I saw that is Noah Syndergaard, who I'm going to get into next, has a great Twitter. Is he quote tweeted a reporter sharing what Steve Cohen said with just a dude running through a brick wall. He's just like, dude, I'll fucking die for this guy. I like Noah Syndergaard a lot. His Twitter is very funny, and that's what's up.
Is he from the Mets organization or was he traded there?
I'm pretty sure he's from the Mets organization.
Oh, interesting. So do the Mets have a good farm system?
The Mets or the Padres?
Yeah. They have a good farm system?
Sorry, did you say the Mets or the Padres?
Mets.
I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. I know the Padres have a great one. I just don't remember what the rankings are off the top of my head.
Because I was reading, just back to the Kevin Mather thing, is that part of the reason this is such a frustrating experience for the Mariners is apparently, you know, you got a president who doesn't give a shit about his players and talks like horrible about them, but also apparently they have like one of the best farm systems in all of baseball.
Mariners are one of the probably top teams that are on the come up right now. They haven't really shown that at the major league level, but they got Kyle Lewis, who's like been their top prospect, a young outfielder, I believe, who just smacks the shit out of the ball. And they have some really good prospects that are like, the Mariners are moving.
Right. So there's no, like, essentially like the 17-year playoff drought, I believe maybe the longest in baseball. I'm not sure. But like, there's honestly, like, with their farm system and with the talent they've had coming through there, it just seems like there's no reason for them to have been this bad, except for the fact that they just have a shitty front office who doesn't know how to put it all together. Yeah. And then, like, it's just interesting how that's great for teams like the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Dodgers, teams that just fly in and pick people off, where they're like, you got these mismanaged teams with great farm systems. And it's literally
a come to death row situation. You know, you're tired of the manager being racist at the Rotary Club, touching up on the female reporters.
Why don't you come to Boston? We got none of that nonsense.
Oh man. I mean, just a quick aside, dude, I forgot to bring this up last week, but the MLB put out the postseason odds for 2021. And there's a few teams that are below 1. But the Pirates, the Rockies have a 0.1. The Pirates have a 0.4. I mean, the Dodgers have a 96. The Mets have an 81. Yankees have a 91.
What are the Sox at?
I don't know if you want to hear it. Let's see. What do we got?
Probably like 15, 16.
47.
Oh, that's not bad. Last year.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to hear the Orioles?
Yeah. What are the Orioles at?
What would you guess the Orioles are?
Well, there's already a 0.1. Is there a 0.01?
It's 0.0.
Straight up. No fucking. Why even tie your shoes?
Dude, I saw that and it made me laugh so fucking hard.
Zero. Who gave them the zero chance?
MLB. They're
MLB.com. The actual.
Sorry, no. I'm sorry. I'm literally crying and I'm snotting out my nose. It's Fangraphs, which is they do a lot of different odds things. But yeah, they're the only team that have a 0.0 odds of making the playoffs. They fucking suck, dude.
Let me give you some advice then. I would, to any gamblers, I would put $10 on the Orioles making it to the playoffs. Because do you remember when Leicester City won the Premier Cup and like some dude won like fucking $9 billion on a dollar bet?
Yeah, dude.
I'm saying right now, if you're a gambler and you got $10 to throw away, put it down on the Orioles because that's going to be a huge payday.
Yeah, I mean the Dodgers have 96, almost 97. The Padres have 93, which is basically just saying that somebody's winning the NL West and somebody out of the NL West is winning the NL wild card, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And you can't give you got to give the defending World Series champions a higher rate than the team that has been put together in the offseason. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's going on with Bauer? Speaking of the NL West.
Dude, this is one of those things now. Like I said, as soon as Trevor Bauer got signed, is like, now he's my guy. Now I'm claiming anything he does, I'm on board with it. And, me and you were both talking when we were like, dude, maybe Bauer's going to be a little bit happier with the Dodgers and having a chance at winning. And maybe he's going to keep it quiet on the old Twitter account. But let's just say that's not what's happening at all. So I don't know if you saw Trevor Bauer's statement that he put out a thing, which is actually really nice. So he's like basically a whole thing to Mets fans being like, hey, because if you don't remember this, or if anybody doesn't remember this, that a reporter put out a thing and said, it was Bob Nightingale, said that the Mets and Bauer had a deal in place. And then it came out like an hour later that was not true. And they did not have a deal in place. And then Trevor Bauer signed with the Dodgers later that day. So that's rough. So Bauer put out a statement and was like, hey, like basically Mets fans, I'm sorry. Here's exactly what happened. I'm sorry it happened this way, but to kind of hopefully make things a little bit better, I'm going to donate. It was something crazy. I think like $500,000, maybe $100,000 to these broken up over these 5 or 6 like Queens based charities.
Oh, okay.
And so everyone's like, yeah, it's a nice enough thing. But Noah Syndergaard, who I also have no issue with. I think he's very funny. Noah Syndergaard, he always tweets about, remember that video where the Terry Collins is arguing with the umpire and the umpire's like, our ass is in the jackpot. So Noah Syndergaard will tweet like always just stuff like that, where he tweeted a thing and was like, my ass was born in the jackpot. You merely adopted it, did like all this different stuff. It's very funny. He has a great Twitter account. He has a book club with the fans. Like, the Mets are a cool team. But so the Mets posted a picture of like the pitchers laughing. It's like DeGrom, Syndergaard, like laughing at spring training. And Noah Syndergaard quote tweeted it and said, and then he said in quotes, "I'm sorry I chose another team, but I'll donate to your charities."
So I didn't expect Syndergaard to start it because you told me there was a beef going on. And when I hear that there's a Bauer beef, I assume he threw the first punch.
Absolutely. And this is where it gets good. Is Bauer, he comes out good. He says he takes the high road for about 30 seconds.
Right.
He says, when mistakes are made, you try to make, he replied to Noah Syndergaard, said, when mistakes are made, you try to make them right. I know you wouldn't know anything about making mistakes though. Hope rehab is treating you well, because he had a tornado. Not rehab as in drugs.
I was like,
rehab as
he got his hand on the
that's
pills?
pretty funny. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. No, because he tore his, he had Tommy John. So he said, hope rehab is treating you well. Was good to see you back throwing.
But he did throw shade right in the middle there when he said, I know you don't know anything about making mistakes.
Okay, well then, before Syndergaard even replies,
he flips his hair.
He flips his hair. In the time that he's flipping his hair, Bauer says, also.
And another thing.
He says, also, at Noah Syndergaard, try to treat the fans better. They're what make our games go. No place for personal insults, especially about someone else's wife. With 3 screenshots of Noah Syndergaard Instagram comments. So here, let me pull these up here. It's Noah Syndergaard. Pablo Breadcrumbs had right to Syndergaard. DeGrom is just winning Cy Young. You're trying to be a superhero. You'll probably block me because you're soft. Syndergaard replies, what's your problem, dude? Be happy, bitch.
Is that the lyrics to the song? Don't worry, be happy, bitch.
Don't worry, be happy, bitch.
That's the original.
Yeah. So then here's another one from this is all Bauer sent over to Syndergaard. A picture that Noah Syndergaard had posted of him with no shirt on throwing. Said, you posted a similar shirtless video last year and your body broke down. Stop with the bullshit. He said, yes, because throwing shirtless is detrimental to my health. It's humid in Florida and I'm chilling, you dumbass. And this is the best one. Same picture of him throwing shirtless. Guy said, put on a shirt, you tool bag. Get through the lineup 2+ times consistently. Play a complete season without getting injured. And also put a fucking shirt on, you tool bag. Said it again. Syndergaard said, show this to your wife. Guarantee she wouldn't want me to put a shirt on. You might actually get laid because that she'll be thinking of me.
Well, I am now a bigger fan of Noah Syndergaard than I was before.
Absolutely. I think it's awesome.
Fans. What Trevor Bauer is being such a fucking little manipulative bastard right there.
He really is, dude. And it's one of those things too, where it's like, of course, if he's on another team, I'm like, this guy's out of line. Right. But I'm like, dude, you know what? He's
they
just
make it sound like some kid's dying of cancer in the hospital and asked him to strike out 10 for him, and he's like, fuck you, cancer kid. That's not what's going on. He's just going after trolls. Who gives a shit?
And it's not even that I think that Bauer is in the right 100% of the times. I just think he's hilarious and he's a great pitcher. So then Noah replied with a gif of a guy digging a hole and just said, keep digging, to which Trevor Bauer says, see you at the bottom. And this ends with Noah Syndergaard. Very funny. Says, bring your drone and your mixtape and it's a deal.
Bring your drone and a mixtape?
Bring your drone and your mixtape. Basically making fun of him for doing vlogs and basically insinuating that he's so lame that he's about to put out a rap album.
Dude, I gotta tell you, by the way, I mean, Trevor Bauer, I applaud the beef. I have no qualms with Trevor Bauer going after Noah Syndergaard, but I think he lost this one, dude.
He did. And it's Noah Syndergaard is just, it's kind of one of those things. You remember that video of the dude on the Titans? I can't think of his name, where he's fucking with Josh Norman.
Was it AJ Brown?
No, it's a big lineman guy. And there's the video is of the lineman. He's like fucking with him after the game. And he's pretending that he's shooting an arrow at him. And then Josh Norman snaps and like goes after him. It is, dude, it's one of my favorite videos in the world. I gotta,
there's also a great video of Josh Norman straight up jumping over a bull in Spain.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Dude, Josh Norman rocks. If you can see right here where he's literally treating him like a younger brother type of bullying. And he's so much larger than him that Josh Norman like throws his helmet at him and comes over and starts like pushing him and everyone's trying to break it up. And Taylor Lewin is just standing there like, fuck you, dude. It is one of my favorite videos in the entire world. Cause he does that thing where he all you see in the start of the video is Josh Norman just sitting there on the bench because they just lost. And then Josh Norman stands up and like, you could tell somebody is pissing him off. And Taylor Lewin is very calmly like this, just acting like he's shooting a bow and arrow at Josh Norman, dude.
You want to talk about another player who got a contract over a year or two of being great and then was never really that good? Josh Norman, dude.
Yeah.
When he left Carolina and went to Washington and then and now he's in Buffalo. Goddamn, he never really lived up to that money, but he sure did jump over a bull. So are you saying that that Syndergaard owned Bauer as much as that offensive lineman owned
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the kind of situation where it's Noah Syndergaard is sitting there with the thing, pretending to shoot the bow and arrow at Trevor Bauer, It's just so funny, man. And
nicer to the fans.
Yeah.
Fuck the fans.
Dude, Trevor Bauer starts. It's also very funny of him just taking the high road and then being like, also.
Also, you don't have 3 screenshots. Like, it's not like he typed the high road one and then went and got the screenshot super quick. He had both rounds right in the chamber. So he shot one.
You think he has a Google Doc of people ready to snap back at him?
You might have an assistant who he's like, all right, I need dirt on this person, this person, this person, this person in case they come for me. I mean, that's what I would do. If I was a famous pitcher, I'd have some college kid. I'd be like, all right, I need Twitter beef material loaded and ready to go on, everybody. By the way, how great is the Mets uniform, dude? I was looking at Francisco Lindor with his chains.
It is great.
dude. Yeah.
Oh,
great
also something funny that Trevor Bauer or Noah Syndergaard does is he constantly beefs online with Mr. Met. Noah Syndergaard might have the best Twitter. Trevor
Does
Bauer
Mr.
and
Met
Noah
have to
Syndergaard.
tweet in Mr. Met's uniform?
I don't know, but like he's on his phone with the big
Yeah.
thumbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's just from the like he was tweeting with somebody where he's like, yeah, we'll do it. Just leave Mr. Met at home. Like, don't bring Mr. Met. Like, acting like he has some kind of beef with Mr. Met is very funny.
That's awesome.
You want to get into some boxing?
Yeah, let's get into boxing. There was a fight, big upset in boxing in the junior featherweight, which the junior featherweight division, Oscar Valdez, the challenger, defeated, and not only defeated, but whooped Miguel Burchett's ass on Saturday night. All over the ring.
You just told me to watch one specific round. I think you told me to watch round 4. Round 4, yeah, where I thought that was like where like technically I guess Nevada rules the TKO came because not TKO, but like technically the knockdown where if you fall into the ropes,
technical knockdown,
where if you fall into the ropes that way in Nevada specifically, if I'm getting this right, that's technically a knockdown.
So if you would have fallen down but the ropes kept you up, in the Nevada's boxing commission calls that a knockdown, which I totally agree with. I feel like, that round, if you guys, so the Oscar Valdez, Miguel Burchett, people keep posted on YouTube. It keeps getting taken down, but you can find that full fight on there. I strongly recommend watching it because everybody's talking about it being the knockout of the year already so far. I completely disagree. I don't even think that knockout should have happened. The reason why I told you to watch round number 4 is that fight should have been called in round number 4.
Yes. I was going to say that is because you told me to watch round number 4 and I was like, okay, because I don't know a lot about boxing, but you're like, hey, check this out. So I was watching it and then I kept watching all the way up to, I think round 9 when the knockout came.
10.
And I was 10. I was going to text you, but I was like, I'll wait till the podcast. I don't think I cannot believe the amount of punches he took in that round. And somehow like he kind of just tensed up his legs and somehow that kept him standing up. But the point I don't think I've ever seen a sober person take that many hits and stand up.
Yeah. There's a lot of boxers like that. The good chin people, and the good chin people always end up the worse off. The Muhammad Ali was like that with the rope-a-dope with George Foreman. There's a lot of boxers who can just take an unbelievable amount of punishment, and it's up to their trainers and it's up to the referee to stop the fight because they could just trip. I mean, I strongly recommend people watch Triple G versus Canelo number 2, the one that Canelo won, because Triple G just is eating punches after punches after punches from one of the hardest punching people in the world. And he just keeps walking forward. He's not even wobbling. So there are people out there who have a superhuman ability to take a punch. And I understand that people love the Jake LaMotta, the Mickey Wards, the people who sit there and they can just get beaten for 12 rounds. And the kind of that Homer Simpson. Remember that
I was literally, if I could show you my computer right now, I was trying to think if Homer Simpson was sober or not during those, but that was his whole boxing technique, was to take as many punches as anyone's ever seen. And then the other guy just falls down from exhaustion.
He just pushes them at the end. They get so tired and then he just pushes
That's what I was going to compare this fight you had me watch to, was Homer's. That's so funny that's literally where both of our brains went.
Yeah. So I just think that fight should have been stopped. And I understand that he was the champion and you give the champion a benefit of the doubt to come back. And he did win 2 rounds legitimately after that. But 2 things I think need to happen with boxing. And this may be like, this may frustrate boxing fans, but I think that like you need to devalue a loss a little bit. A loss should not ruin your career, because there's 2 reasons why a loss should not ruin your career. One, it'll make better fights happen. If a boxer needs to be undefeated to sell tickets, that's bad for the sport, because he's just going to take shit. It's going to be the Mayweather method, where you just take on opponents you're going to fucking kill. Another thing is, if you end it keeps boxers healthier. Like that fight was over. It was over in the 4th round. No matter what, even if he came back and won 2 more rounds, he barely won those 2 rounds. And the only reason he won those 2 rounds is because he landed a body shot and took the breath out of Valdez, and it took Valdez a second to get his respiratory system back up. So live to fight another day. Don't come out, where you just, you spend your 40s, 50s, and 60s just drooling in a chair. Like, you might as well just let it be a loss. Let UFC, every single box. I mean, besides Khabib, everybody has a loss, and it doesn't matter that John Jones has a loss. Although technically he didn't lose that, But if you watch the fight, you could disagree that he lost it. But like with boxing, everybody's undefeated with this, and it's because there's 5 different belts, there's 900 divisions, and so you can end up 30-0, and you're like, who did they beat? Nobody. So I think that's a problem with boxing. There's no reason for a guy to be knocked wobbly and then have 6 more rounds of just getting destroyed. Also, Oscar Valdez needed to go to the body. If he got to the body, that fight would have been over quicker. These headhunting shit isn't going to work. But he looked fucking good. He was the older fighter. Did you know that? He was older by a year.
I didn't know that. I didn't know much about the fight, and then all I was kind of just gathering the information from what the announcers were saying. Basically, that like 87% of the bets were for the other. What's the other guy's name?
Miguel Burchett. He was
Miguel Burchett.
Yeah, he was trying to go after Julio Cesar Chavez's record of 9 title defenses at the junior featherweight or junior lightweight. I forget which one it was. Junior lightweight. And this was technically a 7th, but one was a no contest, so it was going to count as his 6th defense. So he was, and the Mexican president was, behind Miguel. Everybody was behind Miguel. Oscar Valdez and him are old rivals. They're amateur rivals. They never fought when they were amateurs, but Oscar Valdez was always ranked higher than Miguel. So he got to go to the Olympics. He got to go to all the international games, and Miguel never got to represent Mexico in amateur. And people always said that Miguel hated that. He wanted to be an Olympian.
Of course.
And so,
Miguel, imagine the chip on your shoulder if you're both Mexican, and then the Mexican president is like, this is my guy.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that guy's a whole nother story. The Mexican president, he's like a Bernie Sanders type, but he also refuses to wear a mask. It's very strange.
Damn, dude, that's pretty chill.
Yeah. He's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I will say Oscar Valdez is now lined up to fight Shakur Stevenson, which is like that is a boxing nerd's wet dream, because it's been a long time since 2 technical, just perfect fighters. Because Canelo, Triple G, with the last really big mega fights, Deontay, Tyson Fury, those are sluggers. I mean, Fury can box, but those are more like, whatever. I mean, Triple G's a slugger, Canelo's, but these are 2 fucking virtuosos of boxing. It's going to be the best fucking fight. It's going to be up there with if Errol Spence ever gets in the ring with Bud Crawford, which that's looking like it's not going to happen. But I'm so excited. I strongly recommend people watch Shakur Stevenson. Both Valdez and Shakur's last fights each should have been ended, 8 rounds before they were. But that knockout of the year shouldn't happen. I still think Ryan Garcia's knockout of Luke Campbell is a better knockout, because he's coming back with that knockout. He'd already been knocked down himself.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. That knockout shouldn't even fucking happen.
I need to get more into boxing, because it's not like I don't like boxing. Every time you have me watch something, I get stoked and I'm like, this rocks. But then I'm not good at following.
Well, it's just it's the most mismanaged sport in all of sports. So it's hard to get into it, because like you were talking about, Adrian Bronner caught a win the other day. And if you watch that fight, he didn't fucking win that fight. He won a round where he landed 0 punches. He landed 0 punches in a round, and 2 of the judges gave him that round. And when shit like that can happen, it's hard to be a fan of the fucking sport, because it's so fucking cheesy. The judges can be just bought and sold. Like what was that fight we were just watching where, fuck my brain, dude.
It's all good, man. You had to do 2 hours of talking this week.
Yeah, no, but Adrian, that Adrian Bronner fight was bullshit, but he was really funny after. Did you hear his post-fight interview?
I haven't looked at, dude. I was trying. Literally, it's funny that I didn't even know he was fighting, but last week or 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Adrian Bronner. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he goes, I had $13 coming to this fight. We flipped it into 13 million. And so we're going to celebrate this weekend. We're going to be popping bottles and having sex, but then next week it's right back to hitting bags.
Yeah, dude, there's a really funny video of him from back in the day when he was really caking it in, making a bunch of money, of him just paying people individually to let him crowd at the DMV.
Yeah, he looks
so like he just is walking around the DMV. He's like, all right, who's number A21? And they're like, I am. He's like, all right, here you go. All right, A20. And he just is buying his way through the line. It is so funny, dude.
Dude, he looks like James Harden now. Like he's a weathered man. He's only 31 years old. You look at the fight, he looks like he's fucking 50.
Yeah, he's had all kinds of issues. I don't know exactly drugs and alcohol, if those are the things, but obviously he does enjoy those.
Yeah, and having sex.
Yeah.
It's so weird when people say I'm gonna have sex.
Yeah. It's not like we get some bitches.
Yeah. Just
But
I mean,
we will
it
be
feels
having
less weird to
sex.
say I'm gonna get some bitches than I'm going to have sex.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's so
It's just
funny.
fucking creepy. But looking, Canelo's fighting next week. If you guys want to bet $1 million on Canelo, you'll win probably $1 million and five because he's gonna
$1 million and $5.
yeah, he's gonna kill this motherfucker. So he's doing the WBC a favor. He's just fighting his mandatory, and he's fighting this garbage. I wrote down his name because who cares? Avni Yildirim. He's
I love Avni Yildirim.
yeah, he's a Turkish fighter who, by the way, somehow this is another reason why boxing, like, it's one of my favorite sports, but I get why people don't like it. He lost his last fight and somehow won a mandatory against Canelo. I don't know why.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of both have the same energy about these two things. That you like the same energy you have with boxing is the same energy I have with baseball. Where I'm like, please just fix it.
Yeah, just
Fix it. It's so easy. Just fix it.
Yeah, there's a couple things that could happen in boxing. Get rid of about 3 of the belts, get rid of about 4 divisions, and then also ban phones for judges because there's a chronic problem of judges just texting during fights that they're supposed to be judging. Don't let the promoter bark in your shoulder when you're instant replaying something. There's just some simple things you could fucking do. But anyway, Canelo, if you want a guaranteed win, you won't win any money really, but go ahead and put the house down on Canelo next week. And last thing in boxing, Gervonta Davis, my boy Tank, Baltimore's finest, in a little bit of trouble here. He got in a hit and run.
Was he drinking?
Well, he fled on foot, which I'm going to compare this a lot to John Jones's hit and run. They also fled on foot. Which, if you're in West Baltimore and you've wrecked a Lamborghini SUV, which, side note, why is Lamborghini making an SUV? That is.
Oh, you've seen the SUVs? They rock.
The Urus or Ernest.
Dude, I know what you're talking about. They kick ass. Russell Peters has one.
Dude,
Bright yellow.
I disagree. That's Michael Jordan playing baseball to me. I don't want a fucking comfortable SUV Lambo. That doesn't make any sense.
An uncomfortable or a comfortable?
I don't want a comfortable. Have you ever been in a Lamborghini? They're very uncomfortable.
Yeah, Lamborghini, and that's why I have a friend whose dad has a few Ferraris, and he said that he would have rather got a Lamborghini, but it was too uncomfortable.
Yeah, it just feels the whole time you feel like your asshole is going to scrape on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It is very funny that me and you have ridden in those types of cars, and we have there is no reason why me and you have deserved to be in any type of those cars.
I've done a lot of things I don't deserve. Getting flown to a different continent to do comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you are in West Baltimore and a Lamborghini is wrecked and fled, there's about 9 people whose doors they're going to knock on. So
yeah,
let alone, even if there was no license plate, even if they did that LA thing where you just pay the fine and you don't have a license plate or whatever.
Yeah, you just lease a new one every 3 months.
Yeah. It's going to come back to you even if there was no trace, because they're going to be like, what kind of car was it? They're going to be like, oh, it was a Lamborghini SUV. And they're going to be like, okay, so it could be Gervonta, the guy who created The Wire. Like, it's like there's like 3 guys who could afford that.
Or a conglomerate of the 6 o'clock boys.
Yeah. Or one
or 12 o'clock boys, whatever.
The one Oriole who's making money. I don't know.
Buck Showalter.
He fled on foot. John Jones, I looked back because I was like, shit, I hope this doesn't fuck up the Ryan Garcia, because the Ryan Garcia Manny Pacquiao fight, that's not happening. That was just Ryan Garcia being a fucking YouTuber.
It's not happening?
No.
Dude, I wanted to see that happen because I wanted to see a young man beat up his uncle.
Well, you weren't going to see that. That's not what you're going to see. You were going to see a young man put in his place.
That's like, dude, he was going to get put into place like my cousin did at my grandpa's funeral reception, where my older uncle dragged his ass out by his head.
Exactly.
My sister threw wine on him. He's starting shit at my grandpa's funeral reception, and my other uncle, who fucking probably hasn't been in a fight in 25 years, fucking just grabbed him and drug him out by his head.
Please tell me the wine was a buzzball and you're calling that wine.
No, No,
She threw a buzz ball at him, and that buzz ball had some action on it. It had some movement.
Yeah, but man, there's you ain't seen nothing until you seen a glass of red wine splash somebody in the face who has swastika tattoos. I'll tell you what.
Wait, what was this? Your grandfather's funeral?
My grandpa's funeral reception.
Jesus Christ. That's beautiful. What a beautiful window into your life. So Gervonta also, did you ever see the video of him choking his girlfriend in public?
I have not.
So he was at.
I usually don't watch those. I know those are the types of things the algorithm gives you.
Well, it's not like he's not like
a lot of security footage on Brian's Explore page.
Yeah, no, it's all ring footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So there was like some all-star basketball game that was tied to the Super Bowl last year in Miami. Not the one that Tampa won, but the one that Kansas City won.
Yeah.
And he was there with the wife. They call him the mother. I guess the news media can't say baby mama, so they call him the mother of his child. But like it's
baby mama's just so much faster.
I know the mother. He chokes the mother of his child, but he kind of was like removing her in a way where he was like choking her out of the building. But it was
that's what my uncle did to my cousin.
Exactly. It's if he had done it by the back of the neck, that's a classic. I've seen it at the Comedy Store a million times. Somebody getting removed by the back of their neck and just kind of controlled like a remote control. But he went with the front of the neck, which is a bad look. But so he's already got, Mayweather's his fucking promoter. He's joking women. I mean, he's got a hit and run. Essentially, I not only do I not support that behavior, but I really want to see the Ryan Garcia Gervonta Davis fight while they're in their prime. So I'm pleading to Gervonta Davis, please stop. He was driving apparently also, which makes it worse. So John Jones, when he got in his hit and run, he was stripped of his belt and suspended for 6 months. So I imagine a similar thing will happen to Gervonta. He'll get stripped of his belt, suspended for 6 months, which is plenty of time for him to get in shape for a Garcia come, by the way, this hit and run happened 5 days after he headlined his first pay-per-view. It's just like, God, these motherfuckers. But it's like, that's what it takes.
Maybe he was still a little bit concussed.
You would
hey,
like
Doc, I wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah. He didn't get hit too much though. Leo Santa Cruz took if it was Leo Santa Cruz who was running around, running over people in West Baltimore, he'd be like, yeah, that he got knocked out. He's a crazed monster right now.
Yeah. You know what my first thought is? Whenever you said that he fleed on foot, is that he's probably in such good shape that he could flee like a motherfucker, dude. He could flee all the way up to DC.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. He probably had a sweatsuit on. Probably
dude, that's what I'm saying. He could
sandbags on his ankle.
If he kept a good pace, he could flee 15, 20 miles probably.
Oh, no problem, dude.
He's like, how could I be over there when I'm 20 miles away? That's what I would do. I'd be like, oh shit, here's what I gotta do. I gotta run 20 miles and check into a hotel and have an alibi.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in DC. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he literally just follow the train tracks.
Yeah, dude. Boxing, it's my favorite thing, but it fucking sucks. But this year, dude, if the Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez fight happens, if the Fury Joshua fight happens, if the Spence Crawford fight happens, this could be the best year for boxing in a long time. And it'll be really interesting to see how the judges screw all of this up and ruin boxing even more.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's the handshake deal we make. I'll get into boxing, you get into baseball, and we'll both have a great time.
That sounds like you get into boxing, I get in baseball, baby.
Shaking hands, having a good time for the listener.
Right,
going to educate each other the best we can.
You want to close this cocksucker out on a little fun story with our friend Rudy Giuliani?
Well, I mean, you got time for a funny story?
By the way, I want to set this story up by saying typical Yankees fan. I'll say that right away.
Damn, dude, that's what you reduced to Rudy Giuliani down to, is a Yankees fan.
That's, the sweating of the hair dye, the taking his cock out in front of young people, the, getting people riled up to storm the Capitol. Whenever I hear all this stuff, I go, that guy's a typical Yankees fan. That's how they all are.
Dude, what a crazy turnaround that is for him throwing out that first pitch, or it was Bush or whoever, but I remember him. I think he threw out a first pitch too at Yankee Stadium.
The World Series in 2001.
I think Giuliani did one too. And the crowd being like, Giuliani was the man, dude.
Yeah.
He was the man. And then, I mean, in whatever it was, 17, 18, or 19, one of those years getting booed by the entire stadium.
Let me give every Republican, and whether this is fair or not, this isn't biased, but if you're a Republican and there's any point in your life where the public accepts you and likes you across the board, go away.
George Kevin Mather. It's all of them. Just get in and get out. Get in and leave on top, dude.
Thank you very much for having me. I will be on my way now. I'm going to ride off into the sunset, a legend.
Barry Sanders them. Give him the Barry Sanders treatment.
John McCain. He died. Perfect timing.
Well, he died. Yeah, perfect timing where he came back up and he's like, "Fuck, I gotta do it."
Yeah.
John, you know what, dude? I'll before I'm not besmirching anybody. John McCain's a good guy.
Listen,
and me personally, I do like people who are captured.
He's friends with Larry He was friends with Larry Fitzgerald, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's two guys I want to have a threesome with. Sorry, no, a foursome. me, Larry, John, and some big titty mother of my child.
Yeah. Okay. So Giuliani, Yankees fan. That's how I credit him. He was on Steve Bannon, who's also probably a Yankee fan. Where's Bannon from?
I don't know. I think he's from the East Coast. Just you reducing anybody you don't like to be like, oh, Adolf Hitler. Yeah, he must have loved the Yankees.
Oh, it's been proven that Hitler was a Yankees fan.
They can go back and through data prove that Hitler loved the New York Yankees.
The reason
Where is Steve Bannon from? I'm gonna say Steve Bannon is from like Maryland,
Connecticut, or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Norfolk, Virginia, which means he's got like
okay,
government parents.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So hit him with this one because this is a pretty funny story.
So Rudy Giuliani, Yankees fan, is on Steve Bannon, Oriole fans podcast, and Giuliani, Bannon's trying to get out. Apparently, I guess he had gotten through an interview with Giuliani. Probably was semi pleased with it, considering he had a dementia lunatic on his podcast.
It's a good get though.
Well, for Bannon,
for what he's trying to do,
Steve Bannon could only talk to people like Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where he's like, I mean, if he's not getting Trump, he's going to probably have to get Giuliani.
Yeah, but that's like saying like Joe Rogan has Joey Diaz is a good get for Joe Rogan. It's like, yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So they're on the podcast, which is called War Room, and Giuliani is up there, but podcast is almost over, and Giuliani just tries to squeeze in one more story about a golfer who is probably the most famous female golfer in the world, I would imagine. Right?
Especially at the time, I imagine.
Yeah. I dare you to name another one.
Simone Biles.
Nope.
I dare you.
Okay.
You double dare me.
Okay, so here's Giuliani's cute little golf story about golfing with Rush Limbaugh one day. Because they were telling stories about Rush.
Yeah, and before we do go in this, he forgets his name.
Yeah, we'll point that out at the end. But
okay, go for it.
So Giuliani is telling a story about golfing with Rush Limbaugh and on Steve Bannon's podcast. Here you go.
For a funny story?
Let me start that over.
Here. You have time for a funny story?
Yeah, we got about a minute.
I get this one done in a minute. So every once in a while, I was always his partner. So we'd always ride together. He always wanted me to drive.
But also, I'll put the video of this in. Bruce, be very careful because I could end up looking like Giuliani, and you could definitely end up looking like Steve Bannon. So
you're saying physical appearances?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy that Giuliani is the more attractive one out of the two.
Maybe. I don't. That's very debatable, but it's like, what do you want to fuck?
And it looks like a homeless Vietnam vet.
It's like, what do you want to fuck? Wet concrete or some mud? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who's that third guy? Hottie. Just compared to them two.
Okay. So now he's driving Rush around and the paparazzi are following Rudy and Rush.
Because he wanted to be smoking cigars. So One day we're driving, and these paparazzi are driving us crazy. They're taking pictures, they're taking pictures, they're taking pictures. And he said, Giuliani, what did you do now? They're all following you around. You know how I hate pictures taken? I know you're famous, but damn, can't you tell them to stay away? And he's like,
there's no way Rush Limbaugh said, I know you're famous, by the way.
No,
that was just
absolutely not.
And another thing is, have you ever met a New Yorker who can't tell a story? This is so
Yes.
weird to me.
The only positive thing that Steve Bannon does in this story is he does keep it to under a minute.
Right. But yeah,
I timed the story out earlier, and it's about 58 seconds.
Giuliani, you had your stopwatch out. Giuliani is a New Yorker who can't tell a story. That says enough about him. You know, typical Yankees fan. I mean, at least Artie Lang can tell a story. Here we go.
rally. And I say, you just come up to the green with me. Come on. So on the green is Michelle Wee, and she's getting ready to putt. Now, Michelle Wee is gorgeous. She's 6 feet. She has a strange putting stance. She bends all the way over, and her panties show.
Now, what words did he not say while he was thinking for panties?
Yeah, and I am looking at Michelle Wee right now. Her putting stance, and it is interesting. It's pretty interesting. Not saying that anybody that Giuliani is in the right here, but she does have a strange putting stance.
There's no way she's wearing panties. She's wearing underwear, and it's like, whatever. Anyway, okay.
What? Oh, you think that she's full blown commando?
No. I'm saying
Michelle Wee does not wear no panties, brother.
I'm saying, aren't panties like decorative? Isn't that like?
I know what you're saying.
Tonight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm sure she's got a skort situation going on. Not that matters. I'm taking the complete wrong offense with this.
And the press was going crazy. They were following her all around because they were trying to take pictures of her panties. I said, Roger, it's not me, it's not you, it's her panties. Is that okay to tell that joke? I'm not sure.
We already told it, so I don't know.
Wow.
Imagine him calling him Roger. I don't even understand where that comes in. But B, Steve Bannon is one of the most vile people on the planet, and if you're making Steve Bannon uncomfortable, like what are you? Michelle Wee. I'll just say this last thing. She had a longer statement, but part of it that made me laugh right here. Not laugh, but was like, damn, she got his ass. What this person, wouldn't even mention him by name. She said, what this person should have remembered from that day is the fact that I shot a 64 and beat every male golfer in the field, leading our team to victory.
What was going on that day? I
think it was a celebrity tournament, because I even just sent you a picture in your email of Steve Bannon, of Giuliani, Steve Bannon with Michelle Wee in the corner, like an actual picture from that day.
Jesus Christ. Oh, so they were like, hey, sweetheart. They met her. And then they were like, look at her fucking.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Can you imagine a world nowadays where a fucking guy like Rush Limbaugh is accepted into Sports Center or hosting Monday Night Football? Had a weird streak there where it was like Rush and Dennis Miller. And you're like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, now it's on Nickelodeon. They had Hank doing the song.
Hank? Oh yeah. They had Hank Jr. Yeah.
Terrific, dude.
Yeah, they had Hank Jr. doing. Yeah, it was weird because like Rush Limbaugh, there's a great clip. I guess Rush Limbaugh was actually on the payroll of ESPN, because I don't think ESPN had Monday Night Football. So at one point he was hosting ABC Monday Night Football with like Al Michaels and Frank Gifford and Rush Limbaugh for some reason. And then he was also on ESPN, and he's sitting there and they go, Rush, what do you think of the Philadelphia Eagles? And he goes, well, I think the media is invested on building up a black quarterback and seeing a black quarterback succeed. So they're saying he's a lot better than he really is. And they're like, all right. So Tom Jackson, what do you think of the Eagles?
Did he really say that?
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Jesus Christ.
And
obviously I believe he said that, but him saying it on ESPN is pretty wild.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Could you imagine if ESPN or if like Monday Night Football was like, all right, now that we fired, or ESPN's like, we fired Booger McFarland and we're replacing him with Tucker Carlson. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Why the fuck? Yeah, it's so weird that Rush at least was a good broadcaster. Dennis Miller, even weirder choice. Like, that was a strange one where he's just like, making references to Alexander the Great while they're like playing football. And it's like, dude, I don't even think this guy likes sports, dude.
They basically have Bill Hicks out there.
Yeah, essentially.
Dude, a lot of RIPs. Throw them out right now. RIP, rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh. RIP, Vincent Jackson. And I just realized this right before we started recording. Today is a 2-year anniversary of the death of Brody Stevens, legendary comic, legendary sports fan. So RIP, dude.
Oh yeah. What was he?
And if you knew anything about Brody, if you knew a little insight about Brody, he probably loved Rush Limbaugh, brother. No, R.I.P. Fucking legendary comedian, legendary sports fan. Just
was he a pitcher?
Brody?
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you not know that I was a pitcher for Arizona State University? I threw a no-hitter in high school.
Oh boy.
Chest to chest. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy. Love you.